Welcome to the Euro 2020 betting show from the Action Network.
All right, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. That's game two, the same group, Group A, the other two teams, Wales and Switzerland. Wales obviously was a Cinderella story at Euro 2016, made it to the semifinals behind Gareth Bale and the very, 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 very handsome Aaron Ramsey. I don't think Wales has any juice in this tournament. I'm happy they're back. They're a fun team to just be around because of, where they are, kind of just on the east coast of England there. And obviously a good rivalry between those two countries. Wales is plus 295 in their opener against Switzerland, who comes back at plus 117, and the draw is plus 205. The over-under is pretty low here. It's set at 2. I think the draw is in play. BJ, what do you think?
I totally agree with that because, I think this Welsh team is actually a little bit underrated because they actually have the toughest strength of schedule coming into this tournament. They were in a qualifying group with Croatia, Hungary, and Slovakia, which are 3 teams that are in this tournament. And then they played Belgium and Czech Republic in World Cup qualifying in late March. And, their expected goals record isn't great. They only average 1.25 per match and allow 1.12. But they have 3 great midfielders, like you said, Aaron Ramsey and Gareth Bale and Daniel James, who plays for Manchester United. Who can give the Swiss defense some troubles. And, the Swiss team, when you really look at their results, they also really haven't played anybody, throughout Euro and World Cup qualifying. They had Denmark in their group and, they weren't very good against them. But outside of Denmark, the highest ranked team they've played is Ireland. And through World Cup qualifying this late March, they played Bulgaria and Lithuania. So they haven't really been tested. Their roster is really good. But I just think with that low total, and I think it's going to be a very defensive game, I kind of like Wales here to get a draw or a win. So I'm going to take their spread of plus half a goal at minus 143.
I think you make a good point, right? Like this game screams draw. Neither team really needs to win it to advance from the group stage. So I don't think you'll be seeing some open football, open soccer from either team. But I do know Anthony is pretty infatuated with the Swiss. So I'll let him talk about those guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I am not a fan of this Welsh team. I know that they had that miracle run a few years ago at the Euro 2016. That was 5 years ago, and Gareth Bale is much older now. He did just have a great year at Tottenham, leading the league in goals and assists per 90 minutes, which is impressive. But when you look at kind of the way that he was successful, it was when he wasn't asked to do defensive work. He wasn't asked to progress the ball up the field. He became essentially just, in a way, a second striker who played off the right of Kane. So that works, but it doesn't work in this Wales team when they don't really have Aaron Ramsey is okay in the midfield. I'm still, he's a little bit older now. They don't really have any pieces in defense that I trust. Joe Rodon and Ben Davis are both Tottenham guys. They played sparing minutes down the stretch for Tottenham. They're going to play that back 3, which should be able to be neutralizing of Embolo and Shaqiri up top. I think they can do a decent job there. So again, I think this is going to be a cagey match. I actually lean towards Switzerland, but I'm not going to play it just because I don't trust them to take all 3 points here. I think there's a decent chance this one ends in a draw. So no play on this game for me, but I definitely lean towards the Swiss just because I trust their midfield to really boss this game. Xhaka, Remo Freuler from Atalanta, and Dennis Zakaria really should be able to control this game and push the tempo towards Wales. And I think it's going to be very difficult for Bale to really work his magic if he's not on the ball that much in dangerous areas.
All right, then we move on to our first all Scandinavian matchup, Denmark, Finland. Denmark, they're kind of darlings of this tournament. Our friends at BetMGM said that they were the 3rd biggest liability at their sports book to win the Euros. They opened at 80-1, all the way down to 25-1 at some places now. Seems like a lot of money's come in on the Danes, another very handsome team, by the way. They're minus 230 in this match against Finland. Who come back at plus 850. The draw sitting there at plus 320. Anthony, BJ. Well, I guess BJ, we'll start with you. Is there any path to success here for Finland?
Maybe. I think, this Denmark team, obviously the books have reacted because it is a really, really good team. And they're really impressive during Euro and World Cup qualifying. They averaged 2.3 expected goals per match and only allowed 0.75. And their attack is actually kind of frightening, with the likes of Pierre-Emil Højbjerg, who plays at Tottenham, Christian Eriksen, Inter Milan, Youssef Poulsen, RB Leipzig, Kasper Dolberg at Nice. And they should be able to honestly thrash this Finland defense because Finland's roster is kind of one of the worst in this tournament. They don't have a guy who played in one of Europe's top 5 leagues this season, and their defense kind of got thrashed as well during World Cup qualifying. They allowed a total of 4.04 expected goals against. Ukraine, and Bosnia. But the flip side of that is their offense is actually kind of electric. They averaged 1.87 expected goals per match throughout Euro qualifying. And one of those matches was against Italy, where they, put up 1.57 expected goals. And they have a pretty good striker in Timo Pukki, who plays for Norwich, who just got promoted to the Premier League. And I think stylistically, Finland's an over team. They allow a ton of goals, but they also score a ton of goals. So if they go down a goal in this match, I don't think they're just going to try to sit back, and try to play on the counter. I think it's going to open the game up a lot. So I actually think there's some value here in the total. So I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at plus 138 right now.
And now we got a very intriguing one, right? Belgium, who we all think is kind of lukewarm as a favorite for the tournament. People were very high on them a couple of weeks ago. Kevin De Bruyne gets hurt. All of a sudden, people are kind of backing off like that Homer Simpson gif back into like the bushes or whatever. I think Russia is starting to catch some love too. Like people are, we spoke about them at length on the podcast. This team, who knows, with anything with Russia, we just don't know. So who knows what they're going to be doing? Who knows what they're going to be putting in their pregame smoothies in this match? It's taking place in St. Petersburg. Still, Belgium minus 143 favorites, 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. The draw is at plus 275, and Russia comes back at plus 430. I think I'm going to take the Russians, and I'm not just saying that just in case they're listening. I actually think I'm willing to say that there's value on them anything better than 4-1. Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this line has obviously crashed because of the injury to Kevin De Bruyne. He got hurt in the Champions League final in the second half, took a big shot to the face, had a black eye in like 3 minutes. It was kind of wild. But De Bruyne is not going to play. And so the question is, how does the Belgium attack change without one of the best players in the world? In terms of replacing him, there's not really a clear picture for that. Yuri Tielemans is probably going to play in the midfield, but he's more of a ball winner than the creator like De Bruyne is. So I'm not really sure where they're going to go, but they still have a great attack in Hazard, who looked a little better at the end of the season for Real Madrid. He's back from injury. We're not sure what his fitness is. Romelu Lukaku had a great year for Inter Milan, leading them to the Scudetto. And then Dries Mertens is still there. So they have plenty of attacking talent. They have guys off the bench they can bring in. And really, I'm just not sold on either defense in this game. Both really struggled against one another. They played each other twice in the European qualifying. Both games 3-1 and 4-1 to the Belgians. The Belgians just have an ability to score goals with ease, and I think that's going to continue to be the case. You take out the fact that they're not going to have Axel Witsel and their defense is aging. We have two bad defenses, two teams that I think could provide a goal fest here, and we're getting an over 2.5 at plus money. So I'm going to take that over 2.5 plus 110. I think that's a pretty good number. I'd play that to anything plus money. And that's the thing. We're seeing a lot of deflated totals. I think that's because of the tired legs we saw in some of the major leagues. The pressing was way down. Shots totals were way down. That could continue. But even so, there comes a point where you have to say, okay, enough is enough. This is a little bit of an overreaction. I think the market is overreacting to the De Bruyne injury and to that. So I'll play the over.
You say that there will be tired legs, but when the Russians are involved, somehow they find a way not to get tired, which
exactly
kind of leads me to right back to that number, better than 4-1. I think Russia is fine. Another great note about Russia, the translation of their team nickname is just our guys. So BJ, is Russia your guys too, or are you going to Belgium here?
I'm going to kind of agree with Anthony on this. I think that the over is the play here, but I kind of want to point out, those two matches that they played in Euro qualifying. The second one that was played in Russia, where Belgium won 4-1. That match was actually a lot closer than the final scoreline showed, because Belgium only won the expected goals battle 2.05 to 1.66. And like Anthony said, without De Bruyne, you don't really know where the creation part from Belgium is going to come. And Russia's offense was really electric during Euro qualifying. They averaged over 3 expected goals per match. Now, San Marino was in their group. If anybody knows anything about Euro qualifying, San Marino is the worst team in Europe. They don't have a professional player on their team. They got outscored 51-1. But even if you take out the 2 matches against San Marino, they still averaged over 2 expected goals per match. So yeah, I'm with Anthony on this one. I do think that the line has crashed too much, where any value on Russia is kind of gone. But I do agree, that I think the play here is over 2.5 goals at anything plus money. For all the updated information on the Euros, go to theactionnetwork.com and download the Action Network app and enjoy the games.